Injury in America is an epidemic. These injuries occur at home, in the workplace, at school, on the move, and in our communities. Injuries occur throughout America every minute of every day. We're all too familiar with the sirens that signal the arrival of ambulances and emergency response crews. We're all familiar with the heroic nurses, technicians, and doctors who work to save the lives of injured people. But what we fail to realize is that these injuries can be prevented before they ever occur. This is an epidemic that we can control. Injury in America is more important and more preventable than any of us realize. It takes a staggering toll. Each year, more than 60 million Americans receive a serious injury, and more than 140,000 Americans are fatally injured every year. For our young people, 1 to 44, injury is the leading cause of death. And for our youth and teens, 15 to 44, there are more deaths from injury than everything else combined. Yet in a very important way, injury is different from the other things we think of as public health problems. Injury is not caused by infections, viruses, or bacteria, and injury is not a disease like heart disease, cancer, and stroke. Injuries come about from the simple interaction of mechanical forces in our everyday environment with our body. What's exciting is the promise that if we can understand what happens when these forces interact with our body, we can prevent the injuries. These are forces that come into play when an elderly person falls and breaks their hip. These are forces that come into play when a young baby falls from a changing table and fractures their exquisitely sensitive skull. These are forces that come into play when a professional football player hits a 300-pound charging football player at 13 miles an hour and suffers a broken neck. These are the forces that come into play when someone's riding a horse and is thrown and suffers a broken neck and quadriplegia. These are forces that we can understand. These are problems that we can prevent. These are forces that come into play at the workplace when employees are injured by a machine or by heavy lifting, and the toll of these workplace injuries is staggering, not just on the employees who are injured, but on their families and on their employers. These are forces that come into play in transportation-related injuries. We travel today at speeds, whether it be by plane or boat or car, speeds that our grandparents never even imagined. Yet, by understanding what happens in the impact of these transportation-related injuries, we have been able, through the science of biomechanics, to redesign the car, to redesign the transportation environment. We have been able, through our knowledge of biomechanics, to save 250,000 lives in transportation-related injuries. What we want to talk about today is a tool for taking this knowledge that we achieve through biomechanics, the knowledge that we can use to make safer products and safer environments, and for making that available. This tool is called BioCAD. BioCAD is short for Biomechanical Computer-Aided Design. That knowledge and the potential for change that BioCAD promises are extraordinary. It is the promise to make a safe America. It is the promise to bring this epidemic of injury to a close. You might ask, what exactly is BioCAD? BioCAD is a PC-based software system that's designed to bring together information collected by thousands of biomechanical researchers around the world. It's a system that's developed under the guidance of the National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, part of the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia. It also brings together data from researchers who've been supported by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, by the Consumer Product Safety Commission, by the Department of Defense, and by hundreds and thousands of other researchers around the world. It will allow this information to be compiled and, most importantly, to be accessed by people who want to use it to improve the design of products and environments. Another question you might ask is, how will we do BioCAD? What we'll do first is to bring together everything that we know and help to identify gaps in our knowledge, identify what we don't know, and then set about obtaining that information we need to fill these gaps. What we'll do is bring this together in a system that is constantly expanding and constantly growing, a system that can change to accommodate new information as it's developed. Finally, this system will be designed to make the information easily accessible to industry and to researchers who are working to design better and safer products. It will be this very important partnership between industry and the private sector and between government that will facilitate making this information useful for everyday life. The last question is why? Why should we do BioCAD? The first answer is because cadaver testing and animal testing have become increasingly difficult to do, and we can replace those with BioCAD. We can replace those with computer-aided design that makes cadavers and animal testing unnecessary. Second, we now have the capacity that we've never had before. Because of the information revolution, we can bring together information from around the world, put it in one place, and put it in a form that is constantly changing, constantly improving, and constantly expanding, so it can accept new information at the same time that it's generated. Third, the reason is injury is such an important problem. It affects all of us. The bottom line is none of us get away from injuries any time in our life. BioCAD is a way that we can make our family safer, our workplace safer, our communities safer, and our world safer. We can only do it if we come together, if we work together. We can realize a potential that's never been there. That is the potential to end this epidemic of injuries. That is the potential to make our world a safer place. I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll work with us on BioCAD. It's your participation, it's your partnership that we need to make BioCAD a success. It's your partnership that we need to make our world a safer place. Thank you.